Welcome to Amazon Answers. I'm Jared, and today we are going to be fixing Wonder Woman. All right. So, as you guys know, needless to say, of the last few years, particularly under Tom King, have not been very kind to our lovely Amazon. So I figured she could use a little reinvention. Sorry about that. I thought I had a sneeze. So I figured, all right, so here's what this is going to be about. We're going to address the problems that people have with Wonder Woman, or the problems that DC continues to heap on her, even though they have no reason to. And we're going to see if we can create a scenario where she becomes the highest seller that she deserves to be. I mean, after all, Absolute Wonder Woman shows with the proper status quo, you can make Wonder Woman a high-selling character. So let's get started. All right. Start off by bring back Lyta and make her prominent. That too. So here's what the first thing you gotta do is, okay, so if it comes to, like, let's start off with her status quo. I think the best Wonder Woman status quo that we are going to use as a model. Step one, fire Tom King. True. NJ, what's up? So, as you guys know, I have a specific status quo that I always say this one should be used as the, like, model, if you will. It's a blueprint. George Perez. Because remember, this was the model upon which everyone bases their run off of, or claims to in the case of Tom King, but I don't believe him. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to get back to that status quo. Now, what do I mean? I don't mean hard reboot Wonder Woman, because that's just asking for problems. What I would do is try and align it. Like, here's what I would do. Let's say you want to bring Steve Trevor back. Okay, what you want to do with that is, yes, bring him back, but bring him back as an older gentleman and have him be like more the father figure instead of the romance character. And here's the other thing. Do not give Wonder Woman a love interest under any circumstances. Do not. Because what you do there is essentially you are forced to focus on who Diana is as a person, as opposed to who her love interest is. Because that's the other thing about, like, a lot of Wonder Woman writers. They seem too focused on her love interest and not focused enough on who she is as an individual. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to eliminate that temptation. Second off, and NJ, you're going to love this, bring back Hippolyta, and instead of being a goddess, take that away. Right? Brandon says she's a character with a rich history, focus on heroics, the Amazons, and Dish Steve. Yeah, exactly. That's the way you do it. And you bring back Hippolyta. Don't have Hippolyta be like reclaim the queen of the Amazons thing, because I think that's too aggressive. What you could do is have Hippolyta like be in man's world and like team up with Diana and such. Like, not necessarily become Wonder Woman, but you know what I'm trying to say. Because it's like that way you can have a lot of different like story ideas. And again, have Steve Trevor be the Perez Steve Trevor, where he is just like the father / big brother figure that I think was peak. Because in the Perez run, well, actually post-crisis Wonder Woman, let's talk about that. Why take Hippolyta's divinity away? Isn't it just a natural part of a character? No, it's not. She's never been a goddess before this previous run. It's not a natural part of her character. She's just been like the queen of the Amazons. So the other thing that you want to do is like you want to essentially actually figure out what you're going to do with the Wonder Girls, because here's the thing. I meant evolution. Nah, I wouldn't say that either. I don't, because it takes away so much from the character, and they haven't done anything with that really of significance besides make her one of the goddesses that gives Mary Marvel her powers. But I go, no, I really think that's kind of stupid. But the other thing that you want to do is give the Wonder Girls something to do. In fact, what I would do, make the Wonder Girls actually the co-leads of the book. Like, there should never be a writer that says, I don't want to use the Wonder Girls. Sorry. That's the character. That's part of the character, a pretty significant part of the character. That's what you want. You need that because when you think about it, here's what you could do. You could do like a full run that's like Jason and the Argonauts, but with Wonder Woman and the Wonder Girls. And by Wonder Girls, I just mean Cassie, Donna, and Yara. And what you could do with that, with the right writer, you can expand on those three and make them all distinct characters that the fan base will like jump on. Hey, what's up, Parker? So that's it. That's the first thing that you really want to do is like, because that's the other problem that some people have. Well, what about Amazonia as the new title and let two of the three evolve out of the Wonder Girls? I don't like Amazonia as a title. I think that's a little bit like, I mean, it's an interesting title, but it's like I would prefer just have Wonder Woman, just title the book Wonder Woman, or even Wonder Woman and the Wonder Girls, and just leave it like that. Donna is getting a pass between, yeah, exactly. That's really stupid. If you focus on like her as like a Wonder Woman character, then you really get to expand on who the character is. Now, also, NJ, I noticed that too. DC hates the Perez one as well. Yeah, exactly. So the other thing that you want to do, and Britt really, Britt and I have talked about this many times. The other thing, the other character that we're inevitably gonna have to address is Lizzie Marston Prince. Let me guess, Donna Troy the Champion or Lady Wonder? No, you don't have to give her another name, Nemo. You could just give her like Donna Troy or even Troya. That actually works better. If someone says they don't want to use the Wonder Girls, they're not allowed to write for her. Exactly. So here's what you have to do with Lizzie. Now, there are two ways you can go with this. You can either retcon her out completely, or you can severely retcon her origin. I'm going to address both and then tell you which one I would do. If you want to retcon her completely out, what you do is you, again, just have it where like the origin didn't work, like the Tom King origin did not work, or you can make Chucky baby. I forgot she has a name. Oh God, that's so good. I'm gonna tell Britt you said that, Cameron. That's great. I love that. So there are a couple of ways you could go with this. The way if I have to retcon her out, the way I would do it is make it so Trinity was a physical manifestation of Diana's grief for Steve Trevor. When Steve comes back as like an old man, obviously, it dissipates. Like she's more of like an object of Diana's constant grief. So once that grief starts to relieve, guess what? It's undone. Number one. Number two, you could just make it like retcon that's actually, again, it didn't work, and that's actually like the daughter of Emily that Diana adopted. That's the other thing that you can do. What about Lizzie being the potential daughter of another Amazon and her? That's Lizzie. Yeah, exactly. That's the way I would retcon the origin if I had to keep her. Because obviously, if I were writing Wonder Woman I would retcon Trinity completely out. And here's the thing. It's not like don't give Wonder Woman a daughter ever. Give it like a couple of years. This is what I would do. Retcon her out of continuity. Give it a couple of years to separate it from the bullshit version of Trinity or from the Chucky baby version of the character, and then reintroduce her the way she should have been. Like if she has to be Diana's daughter, make it where it's just the Clay origin that doesn't involve Steve. Because that's the thing. King has the nerve to bring up about how the Clay origin is like very like aligns with the feminist nature of the character, which is true. That's right. But you involve the dude in it. You might as well just make her straight up the biological daughter. You might as well do like essentially the Zeus origin, but with Diana and Steve. Then in that case, that's the other thing. I'm like, no, do not do that. But That's the other thing. And then if you retcon her out, all the BS that King does, like the punching the mother in the face and such, and her like really like being an unlikable character, that goes away. That's done. Like that does not happen. So that's the way you could really do that. Man, just make her out of clay of Diana's own. That's it. In fact, the best way, the visual representation of this that is absolutely spectacular is the Wonder Woman 2009 animated movie, because when they show the clay origin, Diana's is like molded, and then Hippolyta pricks her thumb with a dagger. The blood goes onto the thing, onto the clay mold. She holds it up, and the gods bless it, and then it turns into the baby. That's the way you do it. And what about her rogues? Didn't she just get 2 new ones? The Mouse Man is an older rogue that Tom King has butchered, and the Sovereign and Matriarch are never going to be used outside of this run. Of that, I am certain, because they're dumb, and there's no story for those two outside of this arc. Like, he tried to create Wonder Woman's Joker, and guess what? You ended up creating not that. You ended up creating like a horribly generic villain. Like, that's the problem there. So adding on to that, so onto the rogues, because that's actually a good transition, Nemo. What you need to do is you need to like expand on who her rogues are. Now, the rogues, the Wonder Woman villain that I think should get a focus is Grail, because here is the thing. When you look at Grail, she is Wonder Woman's reverse Flash. In other words, or at least she should serve as this, she is the dark reflection of Diana. Like, she is what Diana could be if she were evil. She's essentially evil. She's Injustice Wonder Woman, when you think about it like that. So you could have that, like, that conflict where Grail is like, I'm who you should be if you're supposed to be this protector of the Amazons and such. And Diana's like, you have no idea what protecting the Amazons is. You're just a bastardization of that. But that's what you really want to do with that. If you want to expand on Wonder Woman's lore and actually give her memorable rogues, I got news for you. She has memorable rogues. Just don't do anything with them. Other thing I would do, the only Wonder Girl that I would add is make Silver Swan a Wonder Girl. And hang on. You ever know you want to sneeze, but all of a sudden it's like it goes away as you're about to sneeze? Honestly, her rogues are taken advantage of in media and comics overall. And I mean, I recently found out Cheetah is one of the fastest characters outside of Speedster and can harm Superman. Yeah, it's treated bad. Yeah, exactly. That's what you really want to do. Giganta really and truly deserves. Yeah, I know. But you need. That's the other thing. I don't want don't take all of her rogues, NJ, and turn them into like allies. You shouldn't. That's not a thing. That really doesn't work. Since the rogues were referenced, what was the editor note pointing to in 26? It was referring to issue 221, but neither issue has anything to commit Mouseman. I have no idea, bro. It's like, this run is one of the most shoddily put together things ever. It's like let me actually look that up real quick to see that. So let me pull up the issue. Oh, and obviously, that's the other thing. It's like the other thing that I would definitely do is retcon away the events of this run and make it like an Elseworlds or a Black Label book, and just pretend like, hey, is it canon? It could not be canon. That's what you want to do, because again, this run arguably is one of, if not the, I still say the worst Wonder Woman run of all time. Bar none. The worst, biggest insult to the character that DC has ever published. Published. Not almost published, published. I would try and see if I could have all the cheetahs be alive, but they're different aspects of Diana, if that makes sense. That actually does make sense. The other thing, all right, so let me see this. Okay, actually, it's on the wrong screen, so let me go to here. I don't see that. Hang on. Let me see the editor's note because I don't see the editor's note on that. Yeah, but Giganta is easily can be put in that category. No, but again, that's the other thing. We don't need all of her. We don't need her or the rogues people know as everyone all of a sudden becoming like allies or like being redeemed. Let's have some villains stay as villains. Like I would argue. Okay, here we go. I actually see it. No, it's Wonder Woman 22, Edward. It's like because that was when they showed Wonder Woman's first encounter with Mouse Man. It just looked like 221 because that was a exclamation point. But it's like we need to stop having it where like all these heroes all of a sudden turn into good guys. It's just all these villains. Let the villains be villains. Some of them you can, but it's like, no, just Giganta. I mean, why just Giganta? And before you say she already respects Diana, a lot of villains respect their heroes. That's not really a reason to do that. But by the way, since yeah, no problem. 22 is also one of the worst, but this one is the worst issue of the run, I think, ever. But yeah, it's one of the like. But and here's the thing: it's already set up with Trinity being abducted. Having Absolute Diana is saving Diana. Also, her rogues and allies are a bit different. Also, yeah, Absolute Wonder Woman is saving the Wonder Woman fandom because we have a book that is like showing this is what Wonder Woman should be, and this is if you put the right person. As I said on the Super Wonder episode that's coming out tomorrow, if you put a writer on the character that knows Wonder Woman and that has a clear passion for the character, guess what? That's what you get. No, all of them respect her. Cheetah respects her. I would say Ares respects her. No, all of them, a lot of them respect her. And Jay, don't say none of them. And respect does not always mean they need to turn good. I would just say keep her rogues where they are. Or keep her rogues as villains and just build off of that. Hopefully her rogues like Gigantic Cheetah and others could get an absolute makeover. Oh, Cheetah already exists in the Absolute universe, like a Cheetah. And I'm sure they will, Kelly will bring in other characters. I'm sure. But yeah, that's the thing here. And it's like, this is the thing. It's like I also cannot see Mouse Man or honestly Sovereign ever being used again outside of this. Besides to like crap on them, because that would be hilarious if later on down the line, if later on down the line, like someone does address like Sovereign, but says, "Oh, he is like the biggest failure of a villain." It's like, and he thinks he would be Wonder Woman's arch enemy. Yeah, that would be great. That's kind of what I would do to like crap on him. When it comes to her villains like Ares and Cersei, how should they be utilized? Because you can't just lock them up. What you could do for Ares, you could kind of have it where like see the way I would kind of do it is each arc deals with a different villain. Like that way, it like there would be an Ares arc, a Cheetah arc, this arc, this arc. Because that way, what you do, and also like obscure like rogues and such. Because that's what you also want to do. Is because what you do with that is you highlight all of her rogues and you go, okay, maybe, but I personally stand on just that. Yeah, but if you do one, it's a slippery slope, NJ. It just leads to all of them. But the point is, when you deal with this, if you do like an arc, each arc or two deals with a certain Wonder Woman villain, whether or not that's like known or unknown, you get to highlight all of her other rogues that like people don't necessarily talk about. It's like there was in her 1 year later story, in other words, 1 year after like Infinite Crisis, it ends with her fighting all of her rogues, and they legit have like text boxes that highlight each villain. Actually, I'll pull that up, because what that really does, because there are so many Wonder Woman villains that you could be using, that you could be utilizing and have all these cool stories. The other problem, though, is that you also don't want to have a writer that thinks he knows everything about these characters but doesn't, like Tom King. But I'm pulling this up real quick so I can show you guys. It should be showing up now. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to go to the very beginning of this. All right, so first off, all right, fantastic art by the... All right, so we have this. So we have Giganta, we have Queen Clea, Gundra, Osira. Then you have, who is this? The Mask. And then you have Kong the Assassin, Cheetah, Duke of Deception, Centurion, Angleman, Silver Swan, Minister Blizzard, Doctors Cyber, Poison, and Psycho. Yeah, you see, you have all of her different villains that you could like roll in with, and you just don't. You just revert to the same villains, even though they are the ones that are most useful. You could ask Kelly to write at least 5 absolute villains. What would you want them to fit in this absolute universe? Are you okay even with even newer ones? I would say for right now, focus on like what Kelly did is she brought in like Queen Clea. That right there instantly tells me that Kelly knows her Wonder Woman lore, because Queen Clea is a deep pull of Wonder Woman like villains. And that's how you like outline how you build like Wonder Woman's rogues gallery and make people more aware of them. Because it's like the problem that Wonder Woman has is and it's not a problem with the character, it's a problem with the perception of said character, is people think her rogues aren't like never heard of Queen Clea. She's a villain from Atlantis, but also is like a Wonder Woman villain. But that's my point. It's like not enough people know about her rogues gallery. So when people say no one cares about Wonder Woman's rogues, and I'm like, to a degree, I understand what they're saying. They're wrong, though, but I understand what they're saying. But we need a writer who cares, like Kelly, to make Veronica Kill more of a badass in the main line. Yeah, exactly. There are like a ton of Wonder Woman villains that you could 110% really use, and then really use and like expand. I like the idea of Psycho being one of Diana's mental villains, where he is one of her most dangerous. Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. When you have these characters that are like invulnerable or like super strength, like Superman, like Wonder Woman and such, what you inevitably are able to do is highlight the villains that give them sort of a mental battle, not just a physical one. Because yeah, you could do like, okay, and she punches the bad guy, and that's fine, that works. You could go simple and just go on with that, but you don't have to. In other words, you definitely don't have to. But again, it's like you don't necessarily, you can. That's the thing. The option is there. But the other thing that like is really like the other, and by the way, go ahead and like drop questions also about like how it would handle certain Wonder Woman villains, because this is also very interactive for you. But in terms of like the position, the other thing that I definitely need to emphasize, which Perez, John Byrne, Jimenez, and Rucka all do, is the gods have to play a role. The gods definitely have to play a role. I'm very much shocked Kelly hasn't gone very witchy with this current run. It has some, but not a lot. Well, yeah, because while this Diana is a witch, you don't want to go too far in that, because then she just becomes a Zatanna clone. I mean, Wonder Woman has always had certain magical elements, but you want to weigh in on the mythological, because even this Diana is more of a mythological character with magic than like than like she is magical. So there is that. But you can't also ignore the gods. And that's the other thing, because when Tom King came on Wonder Woman, he said, one of the things that I didn't want to do is use any of the gods or the Wonder Girls. Because his idea is, in order to convince people that Wonder Woman's cool, which we already know she's cool, so you're already failing there, it's you want to like focus on Diana solely as a character. And I go, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work, because you can't ignore the significant parts of the character. If you don't want to write the gods with Wonder Woman, don't write Wonder Woman. But what I would do is you build toward an event. Yes, Wonder Woman needs an event, a line-wide event that highlights her character, because the last time she has had it, it's not exactly been good. So what I would do is throughout the run, you build that maybe like one of the gods, whether or not that's Hades or something like that. Here's my story pitch. The gods become jealous of the love and adoration that the Justice League get. And we start to tease this, but they start to like undermine the heroes, their effectiveness and such. Then they strike and take over. And then it's up to Wonder Woman to rally the Justice League together in order to like in order to take back their like roles as like the protectors of mankind. So what you do with that, so it's essentially a redo of like War of the Gods, if you will. But what you do with that is it gives you the opportunity to like you can have all the different tie-ins with all these characters, and like you can have a Superman tie-in, a Batman tie-in, if you will. And what you could do with that is expand it, and you could see, but Wonder Woman is still the heart and soul of this event. Then the run at the story ends, and the Justice League have a better have another perspective on like their role in the world, and the gods learn a lesson of being like the protectors of man, being those empowered, does not mean that you're like the lords of mankind. It's essentially like, with great power comes great responsibility, for lack of a better term. So there's that. But yeah. And then Brandon says the gods are a balancing act on Wonder Woman because other characters in the DC are as powerful, if not more powerful. True. But again, you can't ignore that. That's like saying I'm going to ignore like the Amazons as part of like my Wonder Woman run. You just can't ignore them. Because then if you ignore all that stuff, she stops being Wonder Woman, because part of Wonder Woman is having all these stories, all of these characters and components that are vital to the character. Yeah, you can't just ignore it. But that's like the King had the gods. They were just as pawns for Batman and Diana. Yeah, or it's like when apparently he retcons that Ares was like super like crying and like, I can't believe what I did as the god of war. And that's why Zeus had him killed, because he's like, he wasn't a man anymore. And I go, that has never been Zeus, and that has never been Ares. They never established that. I'm like, even the previous run, which makes me think that King did not read the previous runs on Wonder Woman. And I'm like, but it's like, bro, you can't you can't ignore these parts of the characters, because these are kind of important parts of the character. But again, that requires DC to act. That requires Tom King really to actually care about Wonder Woman's world, which he doesn't. All he cares about is forcing the characters that he wants to write into this character's world so he can write them, like Batman. In fact, Sampere posted that he's drawing Batman again. So I'm like, are you bringing in Batman again into the Wonder Woman run? Are you kidding me? But it's like, I'm just like, bro, stop with the bat worship. But then again, it's like, here's the thing. When you deal with Wonder Woman, with here's the problem. When you add Bat writers to like any book other than Batman, they seem to focus on Batman or like try and continue to write Batman like King. And he's just pissy because he got kicked off Batman because the Immortal Hulk started outselling him. That's the thing. And yeah, exactly. And it's like, and he may say, "Oh, that was just because it's like 5G happened, and like they will almost happen. They went away with it." I'm like, "No, bro. Everyone knows it's because your run flopped in terms of sales, and Batman is the book that you can't have flops. When Hulk is outselling Batman, then you know you got issues." So, pun intended. So that's why. That's why he's pissy that no, and that's why even in the Trinity book, that's the other thing. It's like the way I would have done the Trinity Daughter of Wonder Woman series, or here's the way it should have been done. Here's the way it was marketed. Instead of a story about fathers and daughters, it should be about each issue is a vignette of Diana raising her daughter. Like the first issue is Diana adjusting to being a new mom, like raising her baby. Second issue is Diana like tending to Trinity as a toddler, and it could be like Diana going, "So this is how I was as a kid." Third issue is like Trinity starting her training as an Amazon and Diana training her Philippus, Artemis, and all this stuff. The fourth thing is like Trinity becoming Wonder Girl and like following her mom and on like adventures. The final issue is when Diana finally retires as Wonder Woman and Trinity takes over as Wonder Woman. That's the way you do it. You focus because it's called the Daughter of Wonder Woman. So what you do with that is you make Diana the focus first off. That's the other thing King has royally failed at. King has the Batman mini next year, if I recall. Probably, I think so, yeah. Which I'm like, that's probably why. That's probably it could be he and Sempera doing it. I don't know, but we'll see. But the point is, what you do with that, the Trinity Daughter of Wonder Woman series has to be focused on Diana raising her daughter. Like, I'm sorry, that's the way it needs to be. And what you do with that is what you the way that eventually works is hang on, I'm just checking something. Is like the way that's supposed to be is hang on. Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to add. All right. So what that it's because you can't just leave out like Diana as a character and it's like make Diana a side character in her own book and such. You just can't. Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. Inevitably, you're gonna piss people off. Like, you're not. This is what I told King that on Twitter that got me blocked. I said, "You're not writing Wonder Woman. Or Steve Trevor. You're writing Wonder Woman. Focus on that, or go write that character, or get off the book." That's the thing there. I forgot to mention first, bring Hippolyta back in Julia. Oh, that's the other thing. Thanks for reminding me, NJ. I said the Hippolyta part. Bring back Julia Capitelis. Like, well, I mean, I know she's dead currently. Like, she like died at some point, but you could. I'm not saying resurrect her, but what you could also do is essentially like, what's the word? You could use King really is salty when fans. Well, here's the thing. He like, did you guys know that when he was on a panel with Frank Miller talking about Batman, and then King says that like he puts a lot of himself into Batman when he writes them, and Frank legit turns to him. This is so Frank Miller. He turns to me and says, "Dude, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to write Batman as Batman, not if you were Batman." But basically, is what he said. And then he wrote a parody of Frank Miller in his Batman comic. That's what King does, is like, if you piss him off, he will parody you in his books. Like he did that with like the people that hated his Strange Adventures book. But yeah, he does that. And yes, bring back, death metal happen and multiverse got a soft restart. Easy can bring her back to life. I mean, you could. Yeah, you definitely could. So bring her back, or maybe that was like a different character, or maybe Diana saves her, maybe that was a clone. However, bring her back. Bring her back, because she plays a vital role in Wonder Woman from her earliest years to where she is now, and they really ought to just because that honestly goes back to what I said earlier about using Diana as what's the word, of bringing back the Perez status quo, because that's what you really need for the character. But once again, as you guys know,
hereby complete the mission of the Amazons by ridding this world of you forever.
Or I had to. I have so many of those clips, and I could make more if you guys want. Would you guys like me to make more? I have so many funny ideas of like characters I can use. But yeah, but yeah, in other words, bring back again the status quo roughly. Like, again, don't like kind of ton of crap out. Like, don't like essentially Flashpoint Wonder Woman, but bring back some of the elements that made this run and a lot of post-crisis Wonder Woman the gem that it was. Like, again, like, it's not all perfect. Post-crisis Wonder Woman had its problems, but overall, not once did she ever feel like she was a side character. And it's like, I find it hilarious that when King was complaining about some writers making Wonder Woman a side character for the love interest or the villain, he does just that. I find that hilarious. That's why, again, the man failed as a Wonder Woman writer, and I can't wait for that run to be like completely ignored, because that's what happens. That's what happens when so at the end of his Batman run, like the last issue, he had it where like Selina and Bruce were together, they were happy, and they were committed. Literally the next issue, when James Tynion comes on, Selina is in a relationship with someone else. It's like they're not together at all. I will always find that funny. In fact, I'll get the trade for that so I can laugh a little bit. Let me get that. I think that this is the one, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, I don't think they're together in this. Also, he had Tony Daniel on art. Like, my God, he has some of the Batman artists are some of the best artists ever. But yeah, they're not together. So I love that. I think that's hilarious. That is just so hilarious. But yeah, so what other questions about Wonder Woman do you guys have? Any questions concerning how I would utilize certain characters, how I do this? Just ask away, ladies and gents. Ask away. He still didn't explain why that's the other thing. When Diana asked, you shouldn't be able to do, how are you able to do this? He just goes, ee, like a rat. And I go, what the hell is this? And this is after he lays in a tub of rats and almost like orgasms from it. You could argue he does. And I'm like, you're a sick mind. King is also the guy that tried to say that the Penguin has sex with rats. With a penguin. So I go, why does he do this? Why does DC not tell him to shut up? And I'm like, no, this is dumb. This is just stupid. And there's just like, I just can't wait for the day when we could like, because again, I cannot wait for like, I cannot wait for DC to tell him he's gone, which I got news for you. I've heard from people that could be sooner rather than later that he leaves. In fact, it's like, if you look at I would not be surprised because DC is, according to Bleeding Cool, the rumor is they're restarting a lot of their series with a #1 because of how popular Batman was. So I would not be surprised if they swap out Wonder Woman creative teams and just restart her with a #1. So I would not be surprised if that's the direction they go in, which, let's be honest, that would be awesome. Mouseman and all these trash characters he hasn't created. Mouseman, by the way, will never be used again after yeah, exactly. Matriarch's not going to be used. Sovereign certainly is not going to be used. And I am still, I debate this with Robert all the time, but I do not think Trinity is going to last. Like, I've heard people say that because Trinity series, first off, flopping hard is and continuing to downgrade like severely is not helping her case. So I've heard people say there were 3 scenarios for Trinity. #1, that they get another writer on the to write Trinity and see if they can salvage the character. #2, they age her up and have her be like an adult. I don't think that's going to happen. #3, and this is the option I would go with, and what I think is probably going to happen, you forget the character ever existed. How long should Vanessa be Silver Swan before being rehabilitated? You could do it now. You could do it now, rehabilitate her. Keep the Silver Swan identity, because what you can do is make it where she wants to like claim that like mantle and redefine it and make her like a superhero in and of herself. You can repaint her and stuff. Tom is out after KO. That's my thinking too, Brandon. That's my thinking when they're going to do it, because a lot of those books are restarting, and that would make the best sense. And then depending on who the writer is, I say that the safe option to go with, and Britt and I talked about this on the Absolute Wonder Woman Super Wonder Legacy episode, that Kelly is the safest option because she has the best track record with the character. It'd be nice to see if she can make the major Wonder Woman, like the main Wonder Woman book, sell as well. Would you have Diana have a public identity? Yeah, she doesn't need a secret identity. I would honestly say, because of her like doctrinal devotion to truth, she shouldn't have a secret identity. Plus, here's the other thing I would bring back, by the way, real quick. You actually remind me of that, Cameron. Bring back the embassy, particularly now, because here's what you could do with this. She reestablishes the embassy, the Themysciran embassy, because you could say that, like, because the embassy was not active, that's how, like, there was that divide. She had an embassy. Yeah, she was the ambassador for Themyscira all throughout post-crisis. So what you do is you do it where like, because of like Themyscira was like isolated and they weren't talking, they weren't interacting. That's why so many of them were able to believe the Sovereign's lies about the Amazons and like and all that stuff, and that's what led to like Acts and all that stuff. So what you do is you reestablish that, and Diana says, we need to talk, we need to connect, we need to understand each other, because if we understand each other, something like this doesn't happen again. Kind of like what they did with Dark Crisis. I mean, after, was it Dark Crisis? No, after, I think it was Dark Crisis. No, it was Absolute Power. At the end of it, where they're like, it's like, because we didn't have a Justice League, because we weren't talking, that's how Amanda Waller was able to take control. That's what you do. And put Kelly on the GOAT main. Yeah, exactly. She proves she can make it a top seller. Yeah, exactly. DC cares about sales, and now, and since it's a year later for Absolute Wonder Woman, that kind of indicates that it's not just Absolute, because if that were true, the other Absolute book should have been all the top selling books every single time. Like Absolute Martian Manhunter should not have declined as it did. So that shows you it's not just, oh, people really like Absolute and stuff. No, it's not just that. That's a part of it. Don't get me wrong. And Absolute is fun, but it's not the same. It's not all. That's not the only reason why that series is selling as well as it is. So that's the key there. Honestly, they can bring back good conflict, particularly with Bruce, who believes she is compromising the League, aka him. Well, he didn't believe that when she had the embassy in post-crisis. So I'm not so sure you need to do that. You could do a sequel to Hikatea, though, and that's the story where Wonder Woman and Batman come to blows, because Wonder Woman is like trying to like protect a woman that has taken the Hikatea law, and Batman has like gone after her because she killed two people without talking about why those, what is it, why the why. Let's never have Diana and Clark shopping for Batman in a space mall. Yes. And here's the thing about that. King claimed he was going to do a deep dive into their relationship. And to quote Britt, it was a deep dive into a shallow pool. It's basically like a pinky toe into a bottle cap of water. Like, that was the most superficial examination of the characters. And I go, yeah, that's hilarious. That's the really fun. That it was so dumb because you still based it around Batman. That's the thing. If you still had it where like they go to a space mall to like relax and hang out, that's one thing. But no, you did it just for Batman. And again, it shows that all he cares about is Batman. Like, again, stop writing Batman. It's just stop bringing Batman into literally every part of this run. You're not writing Batman, you're writing a Wonder Woman book. It is just ridiculously stupid how, like, worshipful of Batman this man is. He worships Batman like Wonder Woman worships the gods. Like, Batman is his god. Let's face it. King is a devout acolyte. Is a devout acolyte of the Bat God. That's what he is. That's what he is. But that's again one of the many problems with this guy. Also, Hadana have a college professor who teaches Greek myth, and how they're still relevant even today's time. That actually is an interesting idea. You could have her be a college professor as well, or like a occasional professor, like a guest professor. And then what you do is like, because yeah, she could talk about being like about like the relationship between gods and humans, and talk about the Justice League, and talk about all this stuff. There's a lot that you can definitely do. See, that's the thing. There's so much story on the table that they just don't go with. Another crap thing among many other craps. That's perfect, NJ. I love that. Another crap thing among many other craps is King making her Captain America levels of power. You could put Steve Rogers in the story and continue the story with him. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I remember Wes from Thinking Critical did a fantastic like discussion about Captain Marvel. And one of the things he said, and by Captain Marvel, I mean Carol, one of the things that he said, and it applies here, is that I could take Captain America and put him in the story, and it doesn't change. I could take any character. This is not a Wonder Woman story. And it's like, even now, it's not a Wonder Woman story. That's the funny thing. If I can take any other character and put them in the story, and it doesn't change that much of the story, that's when you got issues. That's when I'm like, no. That is in no way. That's where you know you failed at writing a Wonder Woman story. Because a Wonder Woman story should be like the most specific story to who Diana is as a person, not like any other character. That just gets super surface level. But then again, surface level, that basically describes King's whole methodology of writing. So that's just him. But yeah. So what other questions do you guys have? And then we'll start to wrap up soon, because we got 10 more minutes. All right, while you guys do that, so as you guys know, I wrote a comic book that is available for crowdfunding on Tuesday, and it's called Athena, the Goddess of Thunder. And it's kind of interesting how it's launching like a week after my 5-year anniversary. So that's kind of cool. But we actually have a trailer for it now. So You guys are going to be the first to see the trailer for Athena, the Goddess of Thunder, issue 1. Are you guys ready? Are you guys prepared to witness the comic book character created by yours truly? And you may recognize one of the voices for the trailer. So let me know. I want to hear in the chat. Are you ready to see a character? Yes. Okay. So there you go. Karen's ready. All right. Here we go. I give you Athena, the Goddess of Thunder. I'm going to actually do this. I give you Athena, the Goddess of Thunder.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sintragar, Athena, the Goddess of Thunder, and this is my story.
And that is Athena, the Goddess of Thunder. That's a project that I've been working on seriously for like about 2 years, getting everything all set up. And issue 1 launches on Tuesday, and I have plans for roughly 12 issues of content in the main series, and then we can do spin-offs and such. But yeah, the art is done by my friend Dawson Riedrich from the 4 Nerds. And obviously Britt was the voice actress for the trailer, and I'll probably have her be the voice actor for Athena going forward because she did a fantastic job. And my friend Lug did the trailer for it. Yeah, Britt is an amazing voice actress. That she is. So yeah, it's launching next week. They already have this. Already has more heroics than the entire run. She didn't say no thank you. I know, right? So I am going to drop this real quick. I'm going to show you guys this. And so here, so you guys can sign up to be notified when it goes live. So here you guys go. And what would you do with Blue Snowman? I don't know as much about Blue Snowman as I would like to, but again, you if you want to apply, like if I wanted to use Blue Snowman, which I could, I have nothing against Blue Snowman as a character, but it's like all you have to do is read about the character, figure out how to use them, and then guess what? Then you actually have a pretty dope character in line. There's so much that you could do with the character. It really is, but then again, you actually need someone that cares about this. And obviously, NJ, you know I care enough. Like if I were assigned and I wanted to use Blue Snowman, or let's say I was like assigned Blue Snowman as a villain, and like I couldn't get away from it. But it's like if I had to, I would 110% like read up on the character as much as I can, and then figure out how to roll with that. There's a lot of ways that you can go with that. It's like all you got to do is like apply yourself. Now, what about her supporting cast? How can we make people care about them, like the GCPD and the DP? Well, she has a lot of great supporting cast members. So what you do is you make them. They add different components to her. Like Julia and Vanessa are like her like man's world family, if you will. They're the first people that show her like man's world and stuff. You can show that in like flashbacks or something like that. Or if you want to do like with Vanessa, you could have her like Diana's training her and basically saying, "I'm not giving up on you." And Julia, she could like run the embassy and such. You could have like Ferdinand like be the cook of the embassy as he normally is. Steve can be more of like the father/brother figure for her. And then what you can also do is like, let's see who else is in her supporting cast. In terms of like the Wonder Girls, they're like her teammates. Like you give Wonder Woman essentially her own like Justice League, essentially, which is just the Wonder Girls, obviously. and like Silver Swan and stuff. But Silver Swan could be an Amazon, could be a Wonder Girl as well. So there is that. I hope that essentially answers that. But yeah, that's what you really want to do. Mindy Mayer or something. Mindy's dead, but if you wanted to bring her back, fine. But I would say keep her dead, because that death had a significant impact on like Diana as like a character. So I would say leave that. Leave Mindy Mayer dead. Yeah, that's kind of where I would go with that. King's next run to get Starbucks for the next. That's excellent. Well, here's the funny thing about it, and now I remember her. I'd say bring her back. She was fun. You could. And also, who was her Doomsday again? Oh, that Devastation. I think that character's name was. And yeah, you could definitely use that character as the villain as well. There's so much. That's the thing that I don't get. It's like, let me put it this way, and Britt and I have been clear about this. If we were to write Wonder Woman for at least the first arc or so, we wouldn't invent any new characters because there's so much that you could use. Like, Wonder Woman has one of the richest like worlds of characters that you could like utilize, but they don't, because in many ways they're freaking lazy. That's what it is. Yeah, Devastation to be brought back. Yeah, that would be dope as a character. I mean, it's like there's so many characters that they could be using and really expanding and showing people some of the cool things about these characters. Bro, we totally forgot about Devastation. She was an amazing concept. Yeah, she was. It's like, there is so many great Wonder Woman concepts and characters that DC just doesn't use, and they could. That's the part that really pisses me off. It's like DC has like Wonder Woman has a very rich world full of like amazing characters and amazing concepts, but they don't do anything like they don't have when writers come in, they all just want to create their own BS instead of making cool characters that align with the character creatively. It never ceases to make me like to actually anger me, because it's like, no, stop creating new characters. Use what's given to you. Like, how is this rocket science? But it's really not. But anyway, so I think that's a good place to leave it. So as far as new Comics League content, so obviously tomorrow is Super Wonder Legacy is going to be releasing at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I have to change the schedule because of my work schedule, but 11 a.m. Eastern time. Do you want her imp back? She had an imp? That'd be cool. But so the episode is about 1 year of Absolute Superman and what a meetup between Absolute Superman and Absolute Wonder Woman would look like. And we even have what would it be like if Absolute Lara and Absolute Cersei met. So we really help you out with that. If you want to see us rant about Ratman and Tom King's Wonder Woman, there is that. And Tuesday, I'm going to be launching, obviously, Athena, the Goddess of Thunder. I may skip Wonder Woman Wednesday this week just for that, because I won't have like a lot of time to record like other stuff for Wonder Woman, but it technically counts. But I don't know. Under Two Capes, not necessarily sure what Robert and I are doing for Under Two Capes. I have to get with him to talk about it. But as for obviously Comics League Dark is all the news articles. For movie night, oh boy, we're going to be discussing Wonder Woman 1984. I know, I'm cringing already. And then in terms of Super Wonder Legacy this week, because the week before Halloween, Britt and I are going to be doing our Halloween episode where we talk about what would happen if Superman and Wonder Woman crossed over with the Aliens and Predator franchise. So that's going to be really fun to talk about that. Yeah. Oh, God, no. Yeah. Wonder Woman Wednesday. Yeah. No. Like, no. Yeah, I know. I know. Like, I wish I didn't, but I'm sorry. It's like we gotta we gotta talk about it because we're talking about all the DCEU movies. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave that. Stay heroic, everyone. But I'll play the Athena trailer one more time for you guys.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sintragar, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
And remember, Steve Trevor belongs at the bottom of a hydraulic press set to maximum. Zoas and Max about for life. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.